As we begin the presentation today, I want to mention my website on the top of the screen here, where you will be able to get a PowerPoint copy of this workshop's agenda and details. This introduction will familiarize you with the definitions of terms and provide a brief overview of the workshop. In many groups, the focus is on the here and now, face-to-face, or more contemporarily, screen-to-screen interaction. You will be invited to engage in two experiential exercises today, focusing on inner resources. In the first exercise, you will enter into non-local consciousness with a question for an inner wisdom conversation. You will think about a question you want answered. As you'll see here, when you enter non-local consciousness, or when you're going to think about a question you want to have answered, not a yes or no question, but one that's more open-ended, like, what might I need to do? How can I? Why can't I? When would be best to? Would be some of the kinds of stems that you might utilize as we move into that direction. Next, we will look at what holistic integrative consciousness consists of. Now I will place a slide that has the body, mind, spirit image on here, and we're looking at corporeal technology first and psychic technology after that. But focusing on corporeal technology, I coined the term because it has to do with the body. Corpus is a Latin term that indicates body, so I thought corporeal technology fit with what this area would be. We're grounded in time space in the geosphere, and we have our movement and our Earth-time spacesuit is in the biosphere, where we construct, we live, we move, we function as human beings. And we engage at this level, for the most part, in face-to-face sorts of experiences, and we bring with us our corporeal energy to what we are doing. There's various kinds of energies that we encounter and utilize every day, as we will see when we move to the spirit or psychic technology side. But in the meanwhile, the mind I construe as the liminal bridge that connects the corporeal and psychic technologies in kind of a liminal space, a betwixt and between space, where we make sense out of our experience based on our past memories and experiences and new experiences that we are encountering, whether we are in space-time in terms of our insights and discoveries, or moving into what we call psychic technology. Now, psychic technology is what also others call non-local consciousness. It contains many different realms. For instance, the Akashic field, the Akashic records. People may experience near-death experiences, dreams, daydreams, a whole range of different experiences in the realms of non-local consciousness. Even transpsychic reality, which looks at remote healing. And then here we have face to consciousness memory realms experiences. In other words, the consciousness memory realms, the Akashic record, Akashic field, collective unconscious, those are all contained in this area, which is kind of an envelope around the earth that contains all memories from the time the earth came into being and humans emerged upon the scene. Next, we will move to looking in more detail at holistic integrative consciousness, primarily thinking about engaging both outer resources, which would be corporeal technology grounded in space-time consciousness, and non-local resources or psychic technology, and how that might function within the group work session. Next, we will examine how the mind negotiates, synthesizes, fuses, and makes sense out of our corporeal technology and psychic technology interactions. Now we are going to talk about the mind, which is the synthesizer, integration, and what I call that liminal space, the betwixt and between space, where time-space meets the eternal now, so to speak. And I'm going to put an image on the screen that's going to cover myself for a while, because it's easier to look at this more complex image in terms of how the mind and spirit are integrated with the body into the making sense out of what comes to one, both on the earth space-time side and on the non-local psychic technology direction. The mind is the liminal space that is the portal that weaves meaning out of our experience. The mind is a tapestry woven with elements of corporeal technology that include cognition and individual life memories embedded in the phenomenal matrix. The phenomenal matrix is the crucible. It creates meaning and transformation from life experience anchored in memories of our past and their associations with current experiences that we encounter both in time, space, and in psychic technology. It is a sifting and organizing stage upon which meaning of current experience is discovered based on past, present, and future emerging into the eternal now. The corporeal technology markers that are associated with the new experience are engaged in one's body armor. As we look to the left side of here, the body armor includes such things as the solar plexus, tightening of the throat, other areas in our body that have experienced some sort of memory related to trauma or perhaps ecstatic experiences as well. What bodily senses may be activated based on memory? Does one focus on the smell of a mother's baking cookies emerging from the door as we come home from school when we were in fifth grade, for instance? Or does the smell of alcohol and the breath of someone who assaulted us or touched us get triggered in terms of memory when some sort of similar experience is encountered? Another fabric that is fused in the mind is psychic technology. Many processes and questions arise with the fusion of psychic technology and corporeal technology. This raises several questions. How is our psychic technology being processed in the phenomenal matrix? And does the experience lead to some confusion that the mind then processes? You'll notice also on the body side, we have the senses of smell, touch, taste, sight, hearing, which are also part of that body armor and separate from, but it all is operative in our experiences. I just wanted to remember to mention that as we see that on the image. Also, if you look at the phenomenal matrix, you'll see that there's a lot of squiggles and things inside. I try to depict what our past experiences are that are anchored in our memory. Experience of what happened is anchored in our memories from the past, and what we encounter in the present then becomes fused into that matrix. And so that's why you'll notice I have such things as voice tone. That may be positive or negative voice tones, or both, that we've had embedded in this matrix that we make sense out of when we have our encounter of experiences as we go forth both time space and into the non-local psychic technology areas. And so intuition, again, as I was saying, is triggered and felt in the solar plexus for some folks, others in the throat, or other areas where we experience physical discomfort or joy associated with knowing something is either wrong or right for us. We are aware of other aspects of our memory in the memory consciousness realms or Akashic record, such as intergenerational trauma, perhaps. The interactions of the body, mind, and spirit form a holistic consciousness perspective that includes outer corporeal technology and inner psychic technology experiences and their processing within the whole person. We are congruent with our outer and inner world resources, and we focus on doing in our outer, it's the space-time, day-to-day grounded in earth plane, and our inner resources, which focuses on the being aspect of who we are, and we can make more informed decisions if we integrate both the body and the spirit as we synthesize and fuse things within the mind to make sense out of our experience and discovery. As we close, I just wanted to reflect again on the idea that most of us experience some form of non-local consciousness daily, whether we recognize it or pay attention to it, which suggests that these experiences we are talking about are a seamless part of human nature. Now that we've explored the body-mind-spirit connection, you are asking, so what? And I have to respond in some way so we can kind of connect together what we've been talking about. As you reflect on the inner processing of human experience in group sessions, when people appear to be stressed, it's most likely has to do with some kind of past experience. How would having people focus on inner resources to discover an important insight to help them work through the issue be as a approach when things come to kind of a stop? That way you can take a moment and have people reflect, and then have members of the group share with those who are stressed inner wisdom that may have been kind of a group experience from the inner reflection. When in group, and ambivalence, confusion, or angst stops the movement of the group. Stopping and taking a moment for group members to reflect using inner resources and shared wisdom with the party or parties who are stressed, as I was saying, may be most helpful. Certainly, you need to kind of make the decision as to what sort of group you're working with, and if indeed that might be an option that you may not have considered in the past. We will explore how to use holistic integrative consciousness in group work and reflect on group flow states and ideas to address incongruence in group work by focusing on inner wisdom kinds of approaches. One suggestion is to introduce the group to inner wisdom work at the end of the first group session by having members focus inward. The group intends to have a positive experience and visualize a success in the last group session that you will be having. You will want members to share their vision and, if appropriate, render an artwork depicting what the vision is looking like. That way it can be shared and the group will have kind of a corporate or group vision of success of going through the various sessions that you will have with them. We've explored holistic integrative consciousness and group work. You can practice outer and inner wisdom resonance tuning in the last half of this workshop as practice for something you may choose to use in your groups in the future. Next, we will move to the beginning experiential exercise in the workshop.